On everybody, what is going on? The catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone out there has had a great weekend. Hope you guys all had a great Sunday. I hope you guys racked up some fantasy wins here in week 11. Week 12 is quickly approaching, but of course we do have one more game left for week 11's slate tomorrow night. Chiefs, Eagles, which will have plenty of fantasy implications. Nonetheless, you guys know what we're here for. Going to recap a little bit of week 11, see how things went for all you guys. Pretty good day overall for fantasy, except for some injuries. And of course, I'm here to answer any fantasy football questions that you guys have. Start sits for the big matchup tomorrow. Going to be some tough calls between the Eagles and Chiefs. So many different players potentially that are going to be involved in that matchup from a fantasy perspective. But outside of that, whatever you guys need going into week 12, who are we eyeing on the waiver wire this week? It's not necessarily great, but it is out there. And ultimately, whatever you guys need fantasy football wise, I'm here for you guys. So Broncos and Vikings wrapped up. Impressive win by the Broncos, pulling it off last second. Once again, I told you guys throughout the week, I think this Broncos team, I think they're kind of humming, and they put it together tonight against a Vikings team that also has been humming. But another win for Broncos Nation. So let's go. Big play by Cortland Sutton at the end of that game. Encourage you guys throughout the week to start him against that Vikings secondary. Not a huge game, but I mean, he just has that consistency and finds the end zone, did it again. But let's go through some of the news here for the week. Joe Flacco is going to the Browns practice squad, if anyone cares. Zach Wilson did get benched today. Tim Boyle went into the game. I mean, maybe some of that was just like the game was over. There's no coming back at this point. Maybe most of it was that just Zach Wilson was played awful. Okay, so Cooper Kupp downgraded to out after suffering an ankle injury. Don't quite know the full status of Cooper Kupp just yet, but that's not good. Geno Smith also hurt in that same game. Kenneth Walker also hurt in that same game. Hate that. Zach Charbonnet, truthers, those of you who have been stashing Zach Charbonnet, now's your time. We'll find out, though. I mean, severity of these injuries and everything. Bad day for injuries. That's just what this year is, man. I mean, it is just awful. Aaron Jones, knee injury today against the Chargers. Donta Foreman got a little banged up today. Tyreek Hill got a little bit banged up today. Devon Achane, right after we finally get him back in action, gets hurt. But this might be the one to be the most optimistic about, because according to McDaniel, head coach and everything, like, they're not too worried about this. But after he got checked, got medical attention on the same knee that was hurt, prior going into this game, that took him out for a couple weeks. They did not want to put him back in, and supposedly Devon Achane wanted to play and go back into the game, but they would not let him. So could be positive news that comes throughout the week on the Devon Achane injury, and let's sure as heck hope for it, because the Aaron Jones injury looks pretty bleak. Kenneth Walker, oblique injury, you never know what's going to happen there. And then Cooper Kupp not looking too positive either. So there's your slate of injuries. I mean, I feel like it's every week when we start the week or end the week, like, this is what we're talking about. Who got hurt today and who did not? And man, I just hope for these last couple. Sorry, guys. Especially as we move into the fantasy playoffs, that some of these injuries will start to dwindle down. But man, I just don't know. I just don't know anymore. The season's been so bad for injuries. But nonetheless, okay, get in the live chat, guys. Let me know how week 11 went for you guys. Let me know if you guys have players in tomorrow's game. I know a lot of you guys do, because both those teams are teams that have fantasy players. But I don't know. I feel like there's so many tough calls like that could potentially be lined up for tomorrow's game. Uh, because this is still a matchup with obviously two very good offenses, but two good defenses for the most part outside of the Eagles secondary. Um, so let me know what you guys need. Let me know how week 11 went. Are you guys making it to the fantasy playoffs or not? I cannot believe we're almost to week 12. But nonetheless, let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. Ladies and gentlemen, David, what's going on, man? J Dubs, what's up, dude? It's great to see you. Hope you're doing good tonight. George, this week I traded away Walker for Pollard, pick up Charb. It doesn't get much better than that. And how about Tony Pollard finally scoring a touchdown? I told you guys throughout the week. He's got to do it. It's the Panthers. It's the worst run defense in the league. He's going to do it. Not a huge day, but at least he found the end zone. T-Law came through for me, picked up Ridley earlier this week too. Is Lawrence good moving forward? Also, is Ridley? Good question. So, they're still fine. I still kind of feel the same exact way about Calvin Ridley that I did going into this week. He's still a volatile wide receiver 2 or flex option. And I like him more in the flex. You look at the past couple weeks, 6.6 points. We could go further back. Let's go back to week 5. 20.6 points, 6.6 points, 1.5 points, 14.3 points, excuse me. A bye week, 4 points, 31.1 points against Tennessee today. So, he's still very, very volatile, right? You compare that to Christian Kirk, who had his second worst fantasy performance of the year so far today, but the consistency in full PPR has been much more apparent with Christian Kirk throughout the year. And an interesting fashion, I read this today. This is just so random that I want to share it with you guys. So week 1, Zay Jones active, Calvin Ridley 24.1 points. Week 5, Zay Jones active, Calvin Ridley 20.6 points. Week 11, Zay Jones active, Calvin Ridley 31.1 fantasy points. Every other week of the season, Zay Jones has been inactive. So I don't know. Maybe Zay Jones just needs to play. Maybe we should monitor that more than anything. Trevor Lawrence, still a low ceiling QB1. I did not expect him to score 32 fantasy points. I think 36 if you play in 6 points per passing touchdown league. But man, you guys know I love my boy T-Law, so I'm happy to see it. Good bounce back game. A couple big bounce back games for a couple teams today. And you can definitely start both of these guys, but I don't think that this type of performance necessarily is going to happen on a week-to-week basis. They had the Texans in week 12. That should be a fun one. So we'll see what happens. Sleepy, what's up, dude? Should I pick up Sutton and drop Hollywood? 110%, absolutely. Yes. Albert, what's up, my guy? Who else lost this week because of Hollywood and A-Chain? I was literally seeing like lineups posted on Reddit where people had A-Chain, Walker, Andrews, and Burrow. So, these things happen. They do. Sutton is him. That's all I have to say, J-Dubs. Worried about the Jets defense. Should I pick up the Jags or Chiefs? Pick up the Chiefs while you can. Their remaining schedule, I was saying it all throughout the week. If the Chiefs got dropped because of their bye week and then the fact that they were playing Philadelphia tomorrow, you can literally drop a skill position player for them just so you have them for the rest of the season. Okay, they're going to play let's just look at it this way. They're going to play Aiden O'Connell, Jordan Love, who's looked okay. Josh Allen, we're going to get points in that game, but we could definitely also get turnovers. Then Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi or Brian Hoyer, then Aiden O'Connell, and then, this is sad, Joe Burrow's backup. What's that? Jake Browning. I was going to say Browning, but I felt like it was wrong for some reason. So very good strength of schedule. The Jags are fine too, but yeah, I would far rather have the Chiefs. Skyward sold Dell and more for JT. Squad is now Hurts, Bijan, JT, AJ Brown, Puka. Hawk, Swift, Chiron on the bench, 10-team half PPR. How much should I regret this one? You should regret it. But if you have a winning record, don't let it beat you up too much. Just move forward. But yeah, that's tough. DJ Moore back to life, right? Encourage some of you guys out there. Like DJ Moore is probably a solid start. Bears should be playing from behind in this game. Bears fans in the chat, you know who you are. I'm sorry. You guys had a lead. Anyways, but yeah, DJ Moore, Lions pass defense has been bad. Even if this game had its downside for the Bears, DJ Moore, Justin Fields should be very fantasy relevant for the rest of the year. Yeah, exactly. Fields came through for me on the fantasy side, 100%. Wild stack, career games with multiple passing touchdowns. Tommy DeVito, 2. Kenny Pickett, 1. How about DeVito ripping up that Commanders secondary that's essentially non-existent? Word on the street is that Ron Rivera will be out this week as head coach for the Washington Commanders. We'll find out. And, there have been a lot of issues with the Commanders over the past couple years. And at the end of the day, I do think that Ron Rivera did his job, right? Kind of reset the culture there, stabilize this team somewhat, and help them find a quarterback that they can develop. So, we'll see what happens. But how about Tommy? What a game. Godfather, good to see you, my guy. Hello. Sutton touchdown was clutch for both my fantasy team and the actual Broncos. Now I have a 41-point lead going into Monday Night Football. Very nice. 54. Opponent has A.J. Brown and Pat Mahomes. Do I win? You definitely probably should. But you just never know. I still think A.J. Brown is going to have a day, and it's tough. I think there's going to be points in this game. But you never know. Things could surprise us. But still, let's say A.J. Brown is a big game, like 24 points. Can Mahomes get 20? Yeah, he can. This is gonna be close. You're gonna be watching that game sweating for sure. Gonna have Mahomes against me tomorrow if he scores less than 41. So you're probably good there. Combo of A.J. Brown and Mahomes is a little worrisome. Hawkinson could have caught one of those, but only down by 16.1 points in standard. Jalen Hurts left. Opponent has no one left. If I win, I'm 8-3. You should be good. I think Hurts will get you that for sure. Sleepy, 6-5, so I think I'll be okay. Only positive thing I can take away from this week is that Pollard scored his first touchdown, right? Terry, I need 30.7 from Smith and Jake Elliott tomorrow. Thoughts on my chances? What I always tell you guys, if you have a player left, there's always a chance. I've seen some really, really wild things over the years, and a lot of you guys out there have as well. So there's a chance. Do I like your chances? I don't love them. Feel better if it was A.J. Brown and Jake Elliott, but you definitely have a shot. I think Devonta Smith will still have a good game. So, if he has a big game, and Jake Elliott's been he's like the kicker 5 in fantasy. So there's a shot. We'll see what happens. After this week against Carolina, is it time to bench Henry? Yeah. We talked about this kind of towards the end of the week, and I brought it up. Like, maybe we should be worried about Henry. Tough for me to bench him. But for some of you guys, with the options you had, I did say to bench him. Bleak in week 10. Jags are a top 5 unit against the run. Will Levis has not been helping this offense move the football. But you can't bench him against Carolina. Same thing with Pollard, right? I told you, you just can't bench him. This run defense is so bad. Another league, I need 13 points from Jake Elliott. It's definitely possible. But it's going to be tough. He's had more than 13 fantasy points twice this year. So it's going to be close. Not a secret. John really gets forced to the X receiver slot without Zay Jones in. When Zay plays, really gets to play the Z in slot snaps. Hey, I was really excited when I read that stat. I was really excited to share it. It is a secret. Just kidding. Shane, what's up, man? How are you? I benched A-Chain in my league with him. The one good decision I made in that league. Yeah, I like went through all my leagues like last night and today and made sure that I started Devon Shane and that he was not on my IR spot. Uh, so I suck. I mean, you can't, I never get up. If it's an injury, it's just like, okay, it is what it is. Tank Dell was the best drop ever. Did I drop him? Was that in Catch League 1? We're in like 7 leagues together, J Dubs. I'm not surprised that I dropped him, though. I do remember dropping him in 1 league this year. I've dropped him in like 2 leagues, actually. Saquon is still alive. That's true. Yeah, and like we gotta give Tommy DeVito's props and everything, but we just have to remember this Washington Commanders defense just so bad. I said it at one point throughout the week. I don't remember which stream it was, but I told you guys like I grew up a Washington fan. This is an NFC East game. Do not trust the Commanders in this game, but like you still realistically have to start a majority of the Commanders because the matchup's too good. But I was not surprised whatsoever seeing what happened in that game. But I'm sorry if it affected your guys' fancy lineups. What do I do with Burrow? What do I do with Burrow in Dynasty? I'm contending. Buy cheap anyone or trade Burrow for multiple assets. I would say if you're in a good spot at quarterback overall, I'm still holding Joe Burrow. I think right now in Dynasty, you're going to get a lot of like, I mean, if you get the right offer, maybe it's one thing, but I think ultimately you're going to get a lot of kind of low ball offers, which I don't feel great about. And I think like if you just hold off, let this season do its thing, and you start to go into next year in Dynasty, people are going to start giving more respectable offers for Burrow. But it just depends on what you get. And I think if you're good at quarterback, I mean, I guess you're asking buy cheap anyone. See, I don't know. It's close because you're contending, but I just don't want to get rid of Burrow. You know, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. He has a lengthy injury history, but I'm still in on Burrow. I'm not there, but you can always sell anyone for the right price. So maybe shop around, see what happens. Right? You start Dak next week, yes. Against Commanders, yes. Jalen Hurts versus the Bills at home is really, really still tough to bench, but man, Dak is on a roll. This strength of schedule for the Cowboys is just stupid. Against the Commanders, who just gave up 3 pass touchdowns to Tommy DeVito, yeah, this might be the one circumstance all year long where I'm going to say you should bench Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I agree there. I agree. Yep. Sean, down 61, got Hurts and AJ left. Opponent has Kelsey left. Think I'll win. No. Unfortunately, I mean, I think it could be close. I mean, you really just need if you need Kelsey to have a bad game, then you may have a shot. But unfortunately, I think even if Hurts and AJ have really good games, Kelsey's gonna just do he's gonna do enough to push it out of contention. Unfortunately, so hopefully you're in a good spot overall in your league, have a winning enough record, and can bounce back. But I would say it's very unlikely. But like I said earlier in the stream, there's always a chance. Shane, go Broncos. I talked about it throughout the week. Talked about it on Friday night stream with Pete. Like, I think this Broncos team, I think they might actually make the playoffs. I know it sounds crazy, but like I don't know. I think they have a chance. They have a really weird way of playing football, but it's working right now. Gotta love Kyler for the consistency. Even if he's not in the Cards' long-term plans, I think he is personally. I think Kyler is. I think they're going to try and draft like Marvin Harrison Jr. or something. If they still have an early pick, I don't think they're moving on from Kyler personally. But I mean, this is more of a conversation we'll have when the season ends. But like, how good do we feel about Caleb Williams right now? No, I mean he's probably still the first quarterback off the board in Dynasty, but Lost Aaron Jones and Kenneth. Waiver pickup. Sharps, Madison, Herbert. Sharps, for sure. Yeah. Or trade for Stevenson or Ford. I'd rather trade for Stevenson out of the two. But definitely pick up Sharps. I mean, if you get Ford, that's okay too. So I just buy Sam Howell for a second or third. Yeah, I know it was a bad game for Sam Howell today, but there are still enough positives, and overall the season's been good enough that I think he rolls. I mean, he still had 20 fantasy points when he had 3 interceptions. For some reason, I thought he had a fumble. That's what I was checking, but no fumbles. Yeah. If you can do that, do it. Sam Howell not worth it first? Is it super flex or just 1 QB? Yeah, Quentin Johnston. I mean, fits in perfectly with the Chargers. Man, the Chargers might seriously miss the playoffs. They barely made it last year. And listen, I do love me some Justin Herbert, but I just don't know. Like, I kind of said it last year. Like, I don't even know if this team deserves to make the playoffs. And this year especially. I mean, let's look at the standings. AFC standings. So the Chargers, I mean, yeah, they're 4-6. They're at the bottom of their division. Hold on, let me see if I can do AFC playoff picture. Okay, looks like I can pull it up on the NFL website, which is super bright and spammy. So right now wait, what? Oh, okay, sorry. It was really confusing the way it was showing it to me. But Chiefs are number 1. They're 7-2. So if they lose tomorrow, I don't exactly know what that means because the Ravens are number 2, but they're 8-3. So I don't know. Big game for the Chiefs tomorrow. But okay, let's see here. So then you got the Jags, the Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Steelers. That's your AFC playoff picture right now. The Bills rising up on the bubble. The Colts are on the bubble. Broncos on the bubble. Bengals, Raiders, Chargers, Jets, Titans, Patriots. That is your order. The Chargers are quite down. Look at the bubble. I mean, Bills, Colts, Broncos, I could see any of those teams. And the Raiders, I could see somehow getting in too. But I don't even know. NFC, you got Eagles, Lions. Eagles are number 1 seed. And that's interesting. If they lose tomorrow, they'll have the same record as the Lions. So I don't know exactly how that shapes out. Niners are 7-3. How about my guy Brock Purdy today, ladies and gentlemen? Saints, Cowboys, Hawks, Vikings, even with the loss tonight, are still in the playoff picture. But on the bubble, you got the Packers, Rams, Falcons, Bucks. Then you got Washington, Giants, Bears, Cardinals, Panthers. Doesn't look like those teams all have 7 losses or more. So, but the Packers and Rams, Falcons, Bucks all have 6 losses, where the Vikings now have 5 losses. Hawks have 4 losses, so there's room there. Even the Saints have 5 losses, and they're number 1 in their division with the Falcons and Bucks at 6 losses. So we'll see what happens. I don't know why I just broke all that down for you guys, but I felt like it. Pick 3 for my 2 wide receivers on flex. We got Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Debo, Sutton, Downs, Cooks, Kincaid. Also Kincaid or Ferguson next week. Man, it's kind of crazy because Ferguson is really coming through right now. And he's getting those consistent touches and now faces Washington. Actually, I guess. Oh, Shoemaker scored this week. I thought it was Ferguson, so I just go Kincaid. I mean, I was using red zone, and I just felt like every time I looked up, Kincaid was catching the ball. The Eagles have been really bad against tight ends this year, so I go Kincaid. I haven't exactly moved my brain into week 12, but looking at some of the matchups here, I do like Mike Evans. They play the Colts. Debo can always make your lineup. He plays the Hawks. But I probably would go DJ Moore, Mike Evans, and then I'm yeah, I'll say this much. I'll go Sutton for a floor, Debo for upside. At some point, Sutton has to not score a touchdown, and he gets the Browns next week. They are at home though, so it's close. But I'll go Kincaid for tight end. Sure, I traded away Tank for T last week in Dynasty. Did I tweak? Maybe a little bit, but Dynasty is always so long term. If you're contending, probably so. If you're not, probably a good trade. But I would still, I'd rather have the Tank Dell side right now. But it's close. T. Higgins, we're trying to see where he lands next year, if he stays with the Bengals or not. Could end up being a good long-term move, but I'd rather Tank Dell at the moment. But you got to remember, in Dynasty, it's very, very easy to get caught up in recency biases. So feel good about Caleb Williams. It's just that his coach stinks. Hey, I say this as an OU fan. He was exposed to Lincoln Riley's coaching for years. Yeah. It's tough coming off the last game of the season with a loss, refusing to talk to the media. We'll see what happens, man. I'd rather buy Sam Howell than Josh Dobbs. But you could buy Josh Dobbs if you can get him at a lower price and you feel good about the rest of your team. Terry, week 12. I got some tough decisions. Which running backs? Jarps, Madison, Javonte. Those are tough choices, man. I mean, if we're looking at matchup, the best matchup here is Madison, but I just feel like he's such a low ceiling player. Rashad White looked okay against San Francisco today. Jalen Warren still scored against Cleveland today. I feel the best about Javonte, but there's issues with all three of these matchups. Which three wide receivers? Puka, Chase, Dell, Devonta. You got to start Tank Dell. I do kind of like Puka going up against the Cardinals. I'll go Puka. I'll go Tank Dell, and then I'll keep. It's very close. It's just hard to bench Jamar Chase. But you could go Devonta Smith over him if you want to. And you also got Olave. I was going to check. I knew you didn't mean to put Chase twice. But yeah, I mean Olave gets the Falcons. You can always start him. Very good options. I mean, this is a good problem to have. And you might bounce around to that running back situation. That one's tough. But yeah, I like Puka a lot against Arizona. They've been so bad against wide receivers and running backs for that matter. I think right now I go Puka, Dell, Chase. It's very close. Zach Wilson is done. He's a Jimmy John's manager next year. No, I mean, realistically, Zach Wilson has already made generational wealth, and I do think he seems like a good locker room guy, a good backup quarterback. And I still do feel bad that I think maybe his career could have gone a little bit differently if you truly got to sat behind Aaron Rodgers this whole year. But these things happen. He should not be starting. The Jets should have been more aggressive at the trade deadline, just bringing somebody in. And they can still bring someone in via free agency, but I mean, Joe Flacco's gone. It's not a hot market. Yeah, Shane, I mean, it just depends on what price you have to pay for Sam Howell or Dobbs, but I would not get rid of I would not get rid of Burrow. Up by 10, they have the Chiefs kicker and Devonta Smith, but I still McKinnon and MVS. Can I hold on? You can. There's a shot here because you have two players. I feel better about Harrison Butker and Devonta Smith than I do about Jarrett McKinnon and MBS, though. Logan, it's a weekly battle between Kyler and Brock. Yeah, and this is like why I don't like having two starting quarterbacks rostered. I'd rather just throw one guy out there and go into the fire. But my guy Brock Purdy, we talked about Brock Purdy a lot this offseason, especially around dynasty content. And I just really, really strongly made the argument for Brock Purdy all off season long and really believed in it and really did not believe in Trey Lance or the people talking about Sam Darnold taking the starting job. And I don't know. There's just, in my opinion, there's no more discussion of Brock Purdy being just a system quarterback. He's, if you go and start to break down some of Brock Purdy's film this year, it's like, this is not a product of the system. Like, he is reading these defenses to a T. I mean, he had 4 incompletions today, 333 passing yards, 3 tutties. Last week, he had 7 incompletions, 296 passing yards, 3 tutties. I mean, I still think from a fantasy perspective, though, you get more upside with Kyler Murray because he has that rushing capability, you know. Kyler gets the Rams in week 12. Purdy, the greatest quarterback of all time, gets Seattle. Like, I don't really feel great about either matchup. I might just take the upside of Kyler next week, but yeah, I hate having 2 starting quarterbacks. Could Rashee Rice and Isaiah Pacheco give me 22 half PPR points? Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Rice going to have a good game. Pacheco, way tougher matchup. But the problem is Rice's ceiling is not super high because he's so underutilized. But yeah, there's a shot here for sure. Kenny Pickett experiment is over. I mean, I don't know. It's the Steelers. Like, is it over? Like, they might just be fine with it. But I mean, yeah, if they had a good quarterback, this team would look very different. The passing offense is awful. I'm not like necessarily disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying it's Mike Tomlin. They're extremely stubborn. Yeah, I mean, Pickens and Deontay are just, and Pat Fryermuth. I mean, it's a good Browns defense, but yeah, the passing today was just completely non-existent. So, but like, will they actually go out and find quarterback talent? No, they'll probably draft like linebackers and corners and a diva wide receiver, you know, and another running back. Should trade Pollard for Smith depends on. I mean, like you might. I mean, I don't know if you could get it done before tomorrow's game or whatever, but you might want to see if Smith has a bad game because then maybe you could buy him lower because Pollard's coming off of a decent enough performance. But it depends on the roster, what you need, running back or wide receiver more. Do y'all think T will be traded away? What's the cap situation with the Bengals? It's not great. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but also it's just like they still have not signed Jamar Chase to his deal, and like that's going to be a very lucrative deal. The wide receiver market completely reset last year, so I don't know if they're going to be able to keep both guys around. So yeah, there's a very strong possibility that he will not be with the Bengals next year. Starting running backs would be ETN, Pacheco, and Olave and Smith as wide receivers. It still depends on the rest of the roster, but you can get by with that. If you're really, really hurting at wide receiver, you can do it, but once again, you might want to see if Smith has a bad game tomorrow. If your trade deadline is this week, then I mean, Pollard's coming off of a great game. Okay, I don't want to say great game, but by his standards lately, a great game. 18 fantasy points. Good game for sure. They get Washington, Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Kind of an up and down schedule. Good enough matchup against Washington. Good matchup against Seattle. Bad against Philly. Good against Buffalo. Good against Miami. Bad against Detroit. So, like, he's going to have some good games to finish out this year. But if you want to do it, like, that's fine. It's just always tough trading for a player going into Monday Night Football. Like, what if Devonta Smith is just not included in the game plan or whatever? Like, just not, has one of those Devonta Smith games where he has like 2 fantasy points, which I don't know, Goddard out, I don't really see happening, but it is possible. And then you're just going to be sitting here like pondering if you made the right choice. Is Madison and Chandler the RB1 for the Vikings? Yes. Yes. Both. Yes. Who knows? Madison, the Broncos' run defense so bad. Ty Chandler looked to get a little bit more involved in the pass game. Had that big conversion, third down conversion towards the end of the game. Well, I guess it was called short after the review. But man, who knows? I mean, I probably do agree that it's probably Madison, but he also fumbled, right? Do you think Swift's going to stay with the Eagles? That's an interesting question. He could definitely come back on a team friendly deal. I mean, the market for running backs so bad that probably. Do you buy Dobbs for 2025 first? If you're contending and you like really want him, sure, I feel better about buying Sam Howell for that price, just because who really knows what's happening with Josh Dobbs? Like, he's going to be with the Vikings next year. He's going to be their starting quarterback. I don't know. I guess that uncertainty just makes me a little bit more leery. But if you're contending, then sometimes you got to make decisions like that, right? I feel like Nathaniel Hackett should be blamed as much as Zach Wilson. I mean, he should be. At some point, yeah, the coaching, I mean, and Robert Saleh as well. I mean, the Jets have not been coached well this year, just point blank, period. And things would be different if Aaron Rodgers was at quarterback more than likely. Like, part of the big reason Nathaniel Hackett is there is because him and Rodgers can mesh offensively, and he can let Rodgers be at his highest potential. The reason Alan Lazard is on this team is because he has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. His season would have been completely different. I still believe that if Rodgers was healthy. There's a lot of blame to go around. It is not all Zach Wilson. I think that's definitely fair, but he's still a big part of the problem. I think T will end up a Bengal. I mean, it could definitely still happen. Don't get me wrong. Definitely still happen. See the Eagles giving Swift a deal, but it depends on the success of the season. Yeah. And like, I don't know off the top of my head, like Kenneth Gainwell, like what year his contract he's on. Like, imagine Boston Scott is, I don't know what his deal's like at all. And then is Rashad Penny even playing football anymore? So like, I don't know. They might need to legitimately re-sign a running back at fair market value, anyways. So, but which usually at this day and age is not much, anyways. Who in their right mind thought there's any chance Sam Darnold was taking Purdy's job? Dude, trust me, there were people straight up arguing like, "Oh, Sam Darnold is like the best pick," and like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like in startup mock or startup drafts, like he should have been drafted. I mean, any backup quarterback, there's an argument for him, but no, trust me, there were people straight up pounding the table for Sam Darnold taking over that offense. So, but there was definitely much more argument for drafting Trey Lance over Purdy. Guy offered Fields for my 2024 second and 2025 first, 2024 first and second, 2025 first. That's a lot. I mean, I if you want to throw the haul, why not? It's a lot. The big problem here is like Fields kind of has a murky future. Bears fans, J-Dubs. I mean, I don't even know what the state of the Bears is. Like, they just need a clean house. Like, this coach, the play calling's awful. But what, a 12-point lead today? Like, what, 3 minutes left? I mean, it's like, it's just defense is awful. It's always the mantra of the Bears, and it's just non-existent. There's still a lot of holes on this offense. The offensive line's not great. There are a lot of issues outside of Justin Fields, but what really is their plan At quarterback moving forward, I do think there's reason to be a little bit worried. I mean, they'll probably just roll with Justin Fields until at least his rookie contract's getting close. But I do think that there's a world where Justin Fields gets replaced. But with all that being said, if you're contending, does it really matter? If you're just focused on this year, does it really matter? Not really, but you're giving up a lot. Giving up a lot. I'd rather buy someone low. Matt Canada and Pickett is an insane combination. I mean, yeah, it's another one. It's just like, why did Matt Canada not get fired last year? As long as Pickett keeps having winning season, he's not getting run of the Steelers. That's what I'm saying. Are they really going to make a change? And I mean, I don't think Jada's wrong to say like the Pickett experiment's over. Yeah, 'cause he's not that guy. But also, part of this could be a result of the offensive play calling, offensive coordinator, and a lot of other things. Does Pittsburgh even care about like as long as they're above 500, do they care about anything else? I don't know. Up 154.9 to 78.9. He still has Hurts, Kelsey, and Elliott. It should be good, right? You should be good. You should be good. You're welcome, Logan. Yeah, there's so many. I was going through like, I mean, I'm in 15 leagues, so I was going through different matchups, and there's so many matchups still completely dependent on tomorrow. I mean, you got Mahomes, you got Hurts, you got Kelsey, no Goddard, right? Got Rashee Rice. I don't know if you're starting any other Chiefs wide receivers, but you might be in deeper leagues. You got Pacheco, maybe McKinnon. Chiefs defense, maybe Harrison Butker, Jake Elliott, maybe the Eagles defense. Some leagues maybe didn't want to drop your defense. You're starting one of the two. You got Brown, you got Devonta Smith, you got Swift. Did I say Hurts? I think I did. There are a lot of matchups undetermined here. The QB landscape as it stands, Danny Dimes will still have trade value for the Giants. This has been a bad year for injuries. What's the most you would give up for someone that has the first pick into the 2024 draft? I'm not really one to like. I don't personally want to send a haul. It just depends. I mean, look at this past year. It's like Bijan, Bryce Young, A. Rich, Stroud, and right now the most like that was the most common draft order. Then probably Gibbs was next, right? Then maybe JSN over Gibbs. I mean, every league's a little bit different, but yeah, and the most successful player I would say out of that bunch has been Stroud. So I'm always a little skeptical of really, really hammering on that first pick, but it's probably still worth it. I haven't moved too much into the dynasty offseason mindset yet, but it really depends. That's the thing. Like with dynasty rosters, it just depend. There's so many variables, right? T is like the tip wide receiver free agent next year. Top. I was like tip. Yeah, and I mean, I don't see Higgins. I think he's just going to nurse this hamstring injury through the year, and I don't blame him one bit. T Higgins to the Chiefs would be like it would make too much sense to actually happen. Bears are the biggest candidate to go over T in the offseason with the money they have, but it's with us potentially landing Marvin Harrison Jr. That's not a possibility now. Yeah. Trade Fields to Atlanta and start over. No one deserves Arthur Smith treatment. I don't know if Arthur Smith will be there. I hope not. T's probably gone, but that's what happens when you pay your quarterback that much. Plus, you need to spend on O-line. They need to just literally like only draft offensive linemen and only sign offensive linemen in the offseason. So I was telling you guys on Friday's stream, I think, if you look at the number of sacks through Andrew Luck's starting games and then Joe Burrow starting games, like it was almost neck and neck. I was wrong. Joe Burrow has had like 40 more sacks than Andrew Luck had in his starting games. And like Andrew Luck had to retire early because of all the injuries he sustained. So it is a major issue, but it's a major issue with a lot of teams and they don't address it, or they try to address it and they're not successful. The the most underwhelming position in the NFL, like over the past couple years, where we are getting the worst quality of play is the offensive line. Hands down, especially interior offensive line. So it's an issue. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins. It was a ticking time bomb. Look at Aaron Rodgers, right? Jets offensive line stinks. Pretty sure trading offensive player to Atlanta at this point would be considered a war crime of some sort. I think Arthur Smith is safe. Apparently he's the full support of the owner. I did read that. I did read that actually. I mean, I hope not. Aram, my team has been selling me the last 4 weeks. Henry, Pollard, Cup, Waddle, Smith, Ingram, have Burrow. Got to roll with Love. Hollywood, Warren Pickens, Judy on bench. Don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really start the wrong guys. Like, obviously Warren better than Henry, but other than that, like, you didn't start the wrong guys at all. You just got to set the best possible lineup you can on a week-to-week basis. That's what I always tell you guys. Mike, you sat Tommy DeVito. How did you do it? Tommy DeVito on your bench. I'm just kidding. I know why you did it. Well, super flex, I should specify. Is Dobbs a top 10 weekly quarterback when JJ comes back? I don't know if I'm going to say top 10, but definitely potential for like top 15. Not as good as Tommy DeVito, though. But yeah, I mean, he should definitely get a little uptick for sure. Yeah. Rank these running backs for the rest of the season. What's up, Chase? We got Hall, Mixon, Warren. I've been leaving Warren out of my bench, but he keeps producing. Yeah, no reason to really bench him at this point. Hall, Warren, Mixon is how I look at this. Mixon gets a slap because Burrow's gone. Offense will be less productive. Does that make sense? I still like Breece Hall, but it also, these guys depend on matchups. J-Dub says Warren, Mixon, Hall, like almost opposite of what I said. Yeah, I mean, I actually, as I was thinking of that, like I do think maybe Warren should be number one, and Mixon will probably still be okay. And I don't know. The Jets are now in a state of panic. Like, I don't even know what they're going to do at quarterback. Apparently, they're going to keep rolling with Zach Wilson, but Breece Hall gets Miami, Atlanta, Houston, Miami, Washington, Cleveland. That's a kind of an up and down schedule. So maybe I side with J-Dubs here. Warren gets Cincy, Arizona, New England, Indy, Cincy, Seattle. That's a pretty dang good schedule, actually. And, like, I don't know if it even matters who Mixon gets, but Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Indy, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. That's the toughest schedule that we went over for sure. But Pittsburgh's not a bad matchup, so close. I'll go by matchup, Chase. Dude, I can't believe he benched DeVito. DeVito is him. Instead of improving their O-lines, most teams seem to just want to whine about the tush push. Dude, the Broncos, I don't know if it was really a tush push. Like, now you're kind of getting like an in-between of like the tush push and just a QB sneak. Teams are getting better at quarterback sneaking too. So, but hopefully we get better offensive line play. But I also think part of it is you're getting better play at edge rusher and interior defensive line and just better defensive schemes as well. So I think that's part of the problem as well. Spence, what is up, my dude? Did you beat Steven? I doubt you did. You were kind of had your back up against the wall with your lineup. Me and Jerry in League One are neck and neck. He's projected to beat me by 0.4 points. Neck and neck. You and Steven are literally predicted to have a tie. What? I've never seen that. But you have Kelsey, and they're giving Kelsey 16.46 points as a projection. I hope you beat Steven. Wait, for me, it says that you guys are projected the same. Oh, I read it wrong. Okay, 126 v 122. My bad. Are we buying low on Hollywood? If you want. I said it last week. Now I'm worried about him. Yeah, I might agree. Only in Dynasty. I don't know what's going on there. Timeout with Henry was good, bro. How have you been, Doc? About to lose my grandma in fantasy this week. It's the worst update possible. At least it's nice, you know. Good for grandma. Finally won in League One, but lost Cup. League One's been just so up and down. Out of the leagues, the catch leagues this year, the league that I'm most upset about, that I'm going to lose again in this week, unless Devonta Smith just goes crazy, is the auction league. I don't know. I have Devonta Smith and Christian Kirk, or excuse me, Devonta Smith and Rashee Rice. I have a chance, but I'm down by 28 points. But it's the auction league. I just think my team is like, I don't understand how I'm about to be like potentially 4-7 and like second to last in the league. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. There's quite a few 4-6 and 5-5 in the 6-4 team with Cinnabon and Prodigy at the top with just 2 losses. But yeah, Jared Goff, Saquon Barkley, Monty, Christian Kirk, Rashee Rice, Dalton Kincaid, Devonta Smith, Devin Singletary, Justin Fields, DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson, Chris Godwin, and Romeo Dobbs. Like, I feel like this team is like so solid. I have another team in another league that I'm like the worst team in the league. It's Josh Dobbs, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, Garrett Wilson, T. Law, Madison, Adam Thielen, Christian Watson, and Luke Musgrave. And that team has 1 win. And I feel like that team is not that bad. Anyways. Yeah, Hollywood, I don't know. I don't like him right now. Christian Watson scored a touchdown today, guys. How do you feel about that? Can't catch a break this year, lost Andrews. It just happens sometimes, man. It just happens. Last Friday, traded Godwin and a 4th for Tank Dell. Might have gave up too much, but needed the win this week. I think that's actually fine. Going to overtake you in standings for Dynasty Superflex because I lost to Steven. I'm not really like super worried. I knew I was probably going to lose to Steven, who of course been texting me talking crap. But what am I? I'm gonna have 3 losses, and so are you, because you're gonna win this week. Yeah, barely beat Mr. Stark. Oh no, you're gonna win by a lot. Okay. I should still make the playoffs. I have a big matchup with J Dubs. So I play Cinnabon, who has a pretty good projection against me, but he's 3-7. A big matchup against J Dubs in week 13. Then I play Taylor Gang, who is completely tanking. So, see, should be an interesting finish. Been a bad year for sure. I've had JJ, Kyron, Andrews, Connor, and Fields. You got Fields back and Connor, and Kyron's coming back soon. It's been a really bad year for injuries, though. All right, 10-team dynasty, start 10. Trade away JSN, Dotson, Charbs, and JMO for Diggs and Adams, only if you're contending. Like contending right now, this season. That's the only way I would do this trade. Is Isaiah likely worth picking up and starting moving forward? And also, how do you feel about Njoku getting targeted 15 times? Crazy, right? A nice schedule. Who do you like more of the two? Njoku. I don't trust Isaiah likely. Didn't do anything after Andrews went out. Didn't do a whole lot last year when Andrews was out. I got trust issues there. I'll go Njoku. Jaden Reed scored a rush touchdown, led the Packers in rushing. I didn't even know that. Thanks for the advice. Start him over Pickens. I didn't know he ended up doing that. That's insane. Yeah, I'm glad I made that call. I definitely didn't make it because I thought he was going to lead the team in rushing. I like Njoku, but likely is a good stash for now. But as a low floor, yeah, I'd rather take Njoku. I guess I'll say this much: I like the quarterback play and the overall offense a lot more for likely. So maybe as season goes on, that comes into play. Yeah, I knew there were 1 or 2 players when I play you that are on bye, J-Dubs. So I might end up needing that win. So I'll take it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it to the bottom of the chat. We're we're about to hit an hour. So if you guys need anything last minute, go ahead and get it in here. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the night. And probably got to throw together the waiver wire video, which let's take a quick look. Obviously, if Zach Charbonnet is out there, you need to pick him up. Odell Beckham, pick him up. Jaden Reed, pick him up. Isaiah Likely is probably going to be worth it. If Pop Douglas or Josh Downs got dropped, you can take a look at them, especially Josh Downs. Khalil Shakir had a big day today. Volatile option. Rondell Moore made the most of his 1 target today with a 48-yard touchdown. And that's probably it for me. There are other names. It depends on your leagues, how deep you are, who's available, but those are probably the top guys for me. Is JJ returning this week since the Vikings lost or not? It's really tough to say because the Vikings have a bye week in week 13. So if he might rest through it. So it's really tough to say. League One's the only league where no one is running away victorious. Yeah, I need to beat Jerry this week. I feel pretty good about that league, but I need to beat Jerry this week. Got offered Gus Edwards for Tank Dell. Would you do it? I'd rather have Tank Dell. But I don't know. Do you need the running back? Do you need the wide receiver? What other wide receivers do you have? I like the upside more of Tank Dell, but Gus has been very, very good. Half-point PPR redraft. Trade Mike Evans and Gus Edwards for Jacobs. No. Already have Mixon, Connor, Tyreek Lamb, and Tank Dell. No, I'd rather have Mike Evans and Gus Edwards for sure. I could definitely see JJ coming back in week 12. I could also see him resting through week 12. 25.5 with the opponent having Mahomes. You have a shot. It's also Mahomes in a big game. Like, this is the number 1 AFC team, the number 1 NFC team. This is a big game. Rematch the Super Bowl. 2 of the best offenses in the league. Did I just disappear? That was weird. That was strange. Did I play Chiron over Cup? Probably. I don't think Cup's going to play. So that was weird. I was like looking at my screen, like, stream go out. But we're here. Well, anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the night. So make sure you guys hit the like on the way out. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And hopefully you guys come back for more. Consider subscribing. And make sure you guys check out the links down below. Discord and Instagram are down there. And if I don't talk to you guys tomorrow, which I probably will after the game. So good luck. Eagles, Chiefs, going to be a big game. Make sure you guys enjoy it. Hopefully, whatever you guys need to wrap up week 11 happens. So let's head into week 12 and let's have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. It is flying by. Fantasy playoffs are going to be here in 3 weeks. Crazy. So love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the catch, fam. Everyone have a great rest of your Sunday. That's probably about to end, and have a great start to the week tomorrow. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And